Now, there is no denying the fact that Deadpool and Wolverine is by far one of the most successful Marvel projects out there via Marvel Studios and yes, the Walt Disney Company, only because Ryan Reynolds and director Shawn Levy, they were able to have the courage to stand up to the Disney heads and say it's our way or the highway, and we don't want any kind of agenda-driven tactics or strategies being shoehorned into a project like this, and that resulted basically in them garnering over $1.3 billion worldwide at the box office. But there's still a lot of drama going on between Ryan Reynolds, Marvel Studios, the Walt Disney Studio, of course, and everything else going on in between, as everything related to the future of Marvel is fully engaged in DEI yet again. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So we know that Ryan Reynolds is one that is defending the fans, defending common sense, and really just trying to put out pure entertainment. We know that he is one individual within the film industry right now that is trying to stabilize and to normalize the Marvel Cinematic Universe, essentially, to bring it back to just having a lot of fun, entertaining the fan base, instead of all this DEI-driven nonsense and the ongoing narrative by the Walt Disney Company. But this is where things begin to go out of control, as Disney's trying to see what they can get away with yet again, after they tried to do this very similar yet near similar tactic a couple of months ago. We'll talk about this right now. Now, what's interesting about this has a lot to do with Ryan Reynolds really losing it when it comes down to what Bob Iger is trying to do here with Marvel Studios and the future of the MCU, especially with X-Men. So with Disney CEO Bob Iger and the executives already doubling down on their moves for DEI to get shoehorned into Marvel Studios again, regardless after the success of Deadpool and Wolverine that shifted away from the Disney messaging, Ryan Reynolds already is having a full-on battle with the Disney heads and a recent development going on at Marvel Studios in regards to the live-action X-Men movie that is now in active development that Ryan is involved with as one of the creative leads and is already having major issues with that Bob Iger is pressing for this film. Now, in a recent gathering at Marvel Studios where DEI was heavily discussed between the Disney executives and Kevin Feige, one agreement between Disney and Kevin that was made that some both minor and major characters from X-Men are going to either be gender or race swapped to fit their DEI narrative. Now, Ryan Reynolds reportedly had massive outrage with the Disney heads after this was agreed upon, and to nobody's surprise, and rightfully so, Reynolds is already pressing an ultimatum that he is actually going to step down from this project and will also withdraw from playing as Deadpool/Wade Wilson for a very important part of this movie that is best described as game-changing. This is already said to be putting Disney in a very difficult position, since they want to double down on their agenda by changing popular and more or lesser-known X-Men characters by use of gender and or race swapping, yet at the same time, they really want Ryan's involvement as both a creator and to play Deadpool as a character. The plan by Disney, surprisingly, is to make some male characters into female characters and some female characters into male characters to provide new takes on the X-Men. This is already beginning to backfire, as Disney, of course, and director Shawn Levy now, was also going to be a creative on top of this project and is now pressuring Disney to stop the nonsense and to bring those developments to a full stop as soon as possible. Now, Ryan already warned Disney that he will be backing out of this project and also out of many other Marvel projects as a creator and as Deadpool if they keep up this overall nonsense. This is said to already be putting intense pressure on Bob Iger, since he knows Ryan Reynolds makes Disney massive amounts of money after living proof was displayed with Deadpool and Wolverine. The same shenanigans are repeating yet again after Disney tried to negotiate with gender and race swapping X-Men characters months ago. So let me just stop here. Now, you guys may remember that they tried to toy around with this idea like 6-7 months ago, well before Deadpool and Wolverine dropped in theaters. And this is interesting, the fact that after they caved to Ryan's demands the first time, now they're trying to see what they can get away with again, to see if Ryan will actually fall for their shenanigans. Now, look, I know at the same exact time, Ryan was not too happy with the fact that they're using a lot of funds from the gains that they made from Deadpool and Wolverine and applying that to other DEI-driven movies and or television programs. That's also something that Ryan Reynolds is having a very difficult time accepting and really bothering him behind the scenes, and it's exactly why there's this ongoing divide between Ryan, Shawn Levy, and the Disney executives, including Bob Iger, the CEO there. So the fact that they made $1.3 billion on Deadpool and Wolverine, right? And they're using a good chunk of that to fund their overall narrative with other projects, whether it's Marvel, whether it's Star Wars, or Pixar, or any other division out there that's going to double down on DEI, because let's face it, they have a new DEI supervisor now looking over everything. We'll talk more about that later. But this is where it begins to pick up even more so, is that now, of course, they are trying to do that very same thing again with new negotiations in place for live-action X-Men characters. It's unclear, however, which characters are planned to be race-swapped or gender-swapped in either way. However, they are best described to be a mixture of major characters from past films and the unknown characters from the comics that have never been seen on film yet. Now, Kevin Feige agreed to these plans by Disney, which in turn created a divide also between Reynolds and Kevin Feige. Whether or not Disney will cave to Ryan's demands to stop all of this nonsense is up in the air right now, especially after Disney actually hired that new DEI supervisor. Now, if you guys want my 2 cents on this, I do believe Disney will cave to Ryan Reynolds' demands again, because they did so the first time. They most likely will do it again. The only thing that makes this a little bit different is that they now have a new DEI supervisor that is pressing on a lot of this very hard and is trying to make all of this happen. And I don't know why Bob Iger likes to shoot himself in the foot several times over and over again, but it seems like he has a real happy time doing that, and it's only going to result in a lot of financial failures one after the other. Now, at the same time, we know that Captain America 4 is not having a good run right now with the test screenings. We talked about that too. They had 3 test screenings that failed, one after the other. Screeners are not impressed with this movie at all whatsoever, and a lot of it most likely has to do with those extensive reshoots and all the different rewrites that took place over time. And look, you can say you're all excited about Red Hulk coming into the equation, sure, but we know at the same exact time that this movie in particular is going to be most likely yet again another failure based on the test screenings. They can't afford more failures like that, especially if they're trying to gear up to an X-Men film. So overall, do I believe that gender-swapped and/or race-swapped X-Men characters are going to actually happen in this upcoming film? That's all dependent on how Disney reacts to Ryan Reynolds' demands and his ultimatums, and whether or not Ryan Reynolds is going to be very persistent with that, which I do believe he will be, by the way. As long as he stays persistent and stays on target, I believe he's going to get Disney to actually cave for the second time to his demands and to make a successful actual movie. We already know that Deadpool 4 is also in the works as well. I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.